No.
I dance a lot in front of them. Is that live now?
It's live now.
Oh, okay.
We're live now with Winona at Welcome Water Protectors Camp.
Right.
We're so grateful.
Yes, thank you for coming to the Welcome Water Protectors Camp. And, our tribes have been fighting this for 7 years, along with a lot of local citizens, because nobody really wants a new tar sands pipeline. They keep acting like it's a great idea, but I keep pointing out that it's such a great idea. How come there's so many police? Great ideas don't have so many police, right?
No, right, exactly.
So this is a really important battle because it's, first of all, it's about this water.
Right.
It's in the world's fresh water, and why would you want to mess with that when they're trading water now?
Right.
I saw that they're
Right.
selling water futures. I was like, well, how about we just keep the water we got? So we can
Right.
afford it, right? So it's about that. It's about the 50 new coal-fired power plants and the ridiculous idea of having a climate policy and a climate president and a climate governor and a new tar sands pipeline. That makes no sense. So we are trying every regulatory mechanism, and we're people who have tried everything, and it doesn't seem to work because a Canadian corporation bought the state of Minnesota.
Right.
That's what it looks like. Bought it.
Right.
And in some ways, it's a perfect storm because you can see that. It's interesting because talking to people up here, the economy is northern Minnesota is a mess, and that's because they built a predator economy.
Right.
Right. It's all based on mining. So the fact is, though, is that we're going to be fighting over rocks and pipes for the rest of our life.
Right.
Unless we come up with a better plan. They just laid off all those people in the Island Range, and these companies are trying to get new mines. Right after Enbridge, all this area over here is leased by Kennecott Copper and US Steel. And they want to put in the Tamarack mine. So it's like, none of it. We're done. So it's this really good time, and it is the time for the just transition.
Yes.
That's what we're after.
Absolutely.
I want is real jobs for real people, and I want an economy that makes sense. So, Honor the Earth is the organization I work for. I basically just feel like I work for Mother Earth.
Right.
But that's the 501c3.
Right. Right.
And so Honor the Earth has been a plaintiff in all of the litigation and the proceedings. And then about 3 years ago, Tanya is actually who found this land up. This guy was here. His name was Robert Peterson, and he had this land, and he and his wife were trying to move south, and they've been trying to sell this land or get interested in it. Enbridge had approached them a number of times, and they didn't like Enbridge. And so they sold the land to us. And so we have here goes down to the river.
Woo.
It's the Water Protected Welcome Center, and we've had it for a couple of years. And it's intended as a community education center, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Show sustainability and culture. And so we've had thousands of people. And we're super grateful to have a place because people come up from the cities and they don't know what's going on.
Right.
And it's far. The north is cold. It was really cold a month ago.
Right.
But if you have 200 people, on the road and it's 20 below, that when spring comes, you could get a lot more.
Right.
And so, we've been sadly trying to make the system work. We, in August of last year, along with the Minnesota Department of Commerce, the White Earth Tribe and the Red Lake Nation and Friends of the Headwaters of the Sierra Club all sued to overturn all of the permits because the permits made no sense.
Right.
The certificate of need and the environmental impact statement that didn't include a climate change analysis. And no spill assessment for Lake Superior. It's a joke. We all want the system to work.
Right. Right.
I'd rather just write and make goat milk and raise hemp.
Right.
The system would work, but it's not. And so we filed that, and then we filed in federal court to overturn the environmental impact statement and the 404 permit, the water quality permits, the water crossing permits that were issued by the Army Corps. Because the federal government didn't even do an environmental impact statement, not that the Trump administration had done. All right, thank you. The state flawed them to issue the permits. And so, we're working really hard with federal agencies that are now and doing our best in the state agencies, but they're defecting public needs. And Walt still believes that this is a good idea. And I really don't understand how that could be a good idea. And we really, I don't, I want the right thing, and I want him to change his mind, and the only thing I I could see is going to change his mind is people.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you can. I mean, if I could just say, look, we'll give you a way out, man. I mean, they just,
Right.
just to be clear about this, they just sent most of the workers home. There was 4,300 workers up here, mostly from out of state. Texas and Utah.
Right.
You got COVID
Right.
spikes where the workers were.
Mm.
They had to close down the Red Lake Casino because there were so many workers that were, in there. Red Lake Thief River
Oh.
Falls and, around here, there's big clusters of it. And then, in addition to that, everything we said was going to happen, happened.
Right.
I mean, they didn't, Tanya and I have a lodge down there by the river. We'll take you to see it. And it's a ceremonial lodge, for our Medewan ceremonies. And both Tanya and I are Medewan, which is, our religion. And we put that lodge up. And before they had a line in there. There was nothing in there. And then we came back one day and there's a stake in the middle of our lodge. And I was
My
like, what
God.
kind of cultural resource monitor does that?
Right.
They didn't have a cultural resource monitor out of it.
Shoo.
And then Tanya and I were sitting in the lodge, and then they put up the no trespassing signs around the lodge, so that we were excluded.
My God.
Normal people? Normal people? I said, what are normal people? Is that a legal designation? He said, not under. I was like, okay.
Right. Right.
I said, does that
Hey.
include tribal members who have a lodge in the exclusionary zone? It's like very upset. So Tanya and I are charged with a lot of trespass for going to our own lodge. And that doesn't seem right. It's a religious freedom issue. Even the Supreme Court upheld your right to pray.
Right. Ha 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 ha.
It is, but
Creative.
I feel like, so the conflicts are many, and they've spent a lot of time greenwashing and redwashing. They did hire a lot of Indians, and they did put a lot of money out, but that doesn't mean it's an okay project.
Right.
What it means is that they've caused more division in our communities.
Right.
Right.
So you got more haters. I mean, this was already the worst and most volatile election that any of us have ever experienced.
Right.
And this is the deep north. This is like 80% Trump territory in Aiken County, at least. 80%.
Really.
If you look out here, people still got Trump sign
Yes.
up.
Yes.
They still got a
I
Trump
was.
sign up. Whoa.
Right. Right.
They're really.
Right. Right.
They're really probably not someone I'm hanging out with.
Right. Tell it. Ooh.
I'm with you.
Right. Right.
They still have that sign up, buddy. But they're still all over up here. And I'm just to say, but and you have the deep north manifested. I mean, you had a militia appearance in Bemidji.
Oh,
when
jeez.
Trump came in, do you remember that? And so all of this conflict just increases. So it's just horrible what's happened to our communities. There's a lot.
Yes.
Not only just the surveillance, and then there's been a lot of about 200 people charged. I wasn't sure, but then
Yesterday, probably 210 maybe.
was there another 10 people charged? 8. Where was that? Here?
St. Louis County.
St. Louis County. So Dan didn't have to. Wasn't Dan the DA? I don't think so. All the sheriffs are.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
But the best thing is that we know the sheriff's older sister too.
Oh, good. Older and smarter, right?
She's on our side.
All right. Of course. Let her keep working on that.
I'm going to go after his mother next.
Oh.
I mean, it is, but it's dividing families.
Of course.
And so, we told the sheriff early on, I said, we don't, he said, I'm going to have to uphold the law. And I said, so am I. And I said, he worked for Aiken County and we worked for Mother Earth.
Right.
And we know what's right. And, but, and today that's where it's really good that we're going to go in with our sister Michelle, who's going to turn herself in.
I'm sorry, I just have a general question because I heard you talking about Trump. So in front of my house, in front of where I live, there's a gentleman with a Trump sign. But what I noticed different about him, and I never interact with him, I'm going to at some point be open to a conversation with him.
Working up your courage.
Your
Your script.
But he also has Save the Children. You know what that is? Save the Children?
Well, that's like charity.
Is it charity?
Well, there is a charity called Save the Children that's an international charity about,
The QAnon version.
but there's a QAnon thing that's a different thing.
Basically to bring awareness of, kids being assaulted. I'm sorry, forwarded to human trafficking.
Right.
Okay. So again, so you have a Trump supporter and you have this. So that's where it caught my attention. I was just wanted to ask your opinion about that.
But I'm in this place now where maybe I'm just too old, but
You're not.
no. I mean, I talk to people around Hubbard County, but I basically tell white people to go organize white people because I'm done.
Right.
I just don't have the patience. But it's interesting because in our, like, I work mostly like west of here because the White Earth Reservation is west of here, and I live in Becker County, but I do a lot of work in Hubbard County. We own a second piece of property on the line in Hubbard County. Well, we no longer do. We donated it to, I forget what they're called, Switchboard Collective or something. It's a nonprofit. So there's a big camp up there. And then just to be clear, there's a camp over in Fond du Lac, right?
Right.
Those guys are like hanging on a corner. They're tough as could be, right? Tough as nails, hanging on a corner next to all this construction equipment, getting hated on by the tribal government, and like super, I mean, $225 million makes a mess of your community.
And I heard that it's also, they pitted each other against.
Oh, it's horrible.
Up there. This was in the reservation.
It's horrible. I mean, the meanest thing said to Tasha, no one should ever say those things to an Indian woman.
Oh, no.
You were adopted out because we didn't like you, and we still don't.
Oh, come
I
on.
mean, like, what kind of, like,
Oh,
that's like Enbridge hating.
right.
Hating it. We got a lot of money and smacked down that Indian woman who decided it was a bad idea, Just really horrible how she's being treated.
Right.
We're obviously, really happy here, and it's tense in the county, but part of what we're trying to point out is that we're not criminals.
No.
Enbridge is the criminal.
Exactly.
And we're your neighbors, and we're the people who live here, and we have some common sense, and a lot of us are grandmas.
Right.
So we're really, really trying to encourage the grandmas to come out, because I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like that's our best shot with Hubbard County Sheriff. And this last week we had Jane Fonda up there early.
Yay.
It was super funny though, because we had this like event that was like super secret, because I'm just saying, like, I don't really need to know most things because I'm not in charge of secrets.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
say?
I just think that's a great thing to say.
Right.
I mean, I just don't, I'm just like, so we were doing this event on the Crow Wing River, and the funny thing was, is you'll laugh at this, so I'm pulling into the event, which I was, kind of like, we started over, first of all, we started at this one landing, the Hubbard, what was it called, the Long Knife Landing, and then we had to go way off in the woods, down these dirt roads, kind of like if you're heading over here to a landing, right?
Right.
To take you over there to see. But anyway, so, we had like 70 cars, 50 cars,
Uh-huh.
right? And,
It's a secret.
it's like at what point is this a secret, right?
Right.
This is a secret. This thing happening in Hubbard County.
Right.
We're
Right.
all there, and we're all under surveillance anyway, and we're
Right.
doing a First Amendment assembly, praying by the river in a public campground.
Right.
What would be,
Well, Gandhi told everybody what he was going to do every time.
who did?
Gandhi.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just
we're
full
working-
disclosure.
We're working on our strategy.
Yeah.
But our strategy.
It depends on, there's different. Right.
My strategy is
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we had, so but anyway, so we're going down there, and I get there kind of a little bit early, not early, but I was trying to get there, kind of leading the team in there, and I'm pulling in, and this truck is pulling out, and I see them, and I was like, oh, there's some people leaving, and they roll down the window, and they say, and I get out of my car, and they roll down the window, and they say, we have to leave, we're so sorry, we have to leave, we have an emergency. I said, oh, come back. I said, no, we can't get back. I said, so who are you? Because I didn't know who they were, like an older white couple. And the guy says, his wife leans forward and she says, I'm the chaplain at the jail. So then we're 100% behind you. So I said, I hope I don't see you, sister.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Not a nice one, okay? The greatest thing, though, she said, I'm the Hubbard County Jail chaplain, and I'm on your side.
Right.
So we went down there to the river, and on our way there, Jane got stopped, or her constitutional rights attorney got stopped
Right.
by Hubbard County's finest, or actually it was the state patrol, no, the highway patrol, Mount Jihad, whatever.
Right.
And the attorney said, "Why'd you stop us?" And she said, you didn't have your turn signal on between those two intersections, and so you violated the turn signal law." And you could see she was like making it up.
Right.
And she's like, there wasn't 100 feet between those two, or 100 yards between those two. So there's no way I could have met that, and you know that as well, because you just followed me.
Right.
And so then there was like this 15-minute interaction, which of course, like I've told everybody, is like as soon as the cops stop you, turn on your phone.
Right.
So the other constitutional rights attorney was sitting there filming.
Right. Oh, good.
And, and so we got out of that, and those attorneys have said, look, strip searches for misdemeanors, putting people in overcrowded cells during a pandemic,
Right.
putting them in uncomfortable positions, this is not necessary. And what we've seen repeatedly is this escalation, and what's happened, which Jane pointed out and we all know, is that they've incentivized this. They've incentivized arresting and repression of water protectors because the state approved a contract with Enbridge, and in that contract, one of the conditions was that Enbridge paid for the police. And so
Paid for.
paid for the police.
Right.
There's an escrow account because it was
Right.
$38 million at Standing Rock.
Right.
And so, we're just trying, I'm like, I'm a landscape girl, I've been around, I was like, so wait, let me get this right. You got a Canadian multinational paying for the police to put in their mega project.
Yep.
Does anybody want to point out how third world that is?
Right. It's just
I was like, come on,
outrageous.
Minnesota. But they've incentivized it,
Yep.
which is one of the problems, is that, they make more money, and so they have all of this security, and this is one of our, things we brought to the governor, brought to Commissioner Harrington, and brought to Ellison. I was like, who's in charge of the flying monkeys? Like, who's in charge of those security guys?
Right.
Like, who are they subjected to? And they are directing Enbridge. Enbridge is directing the police.
Right.
Like, at what point is that not a conflict of interest?
Right.
The lawsuits that we're looking at. And then more than that, these are poor counties. And, the sheriff's sister told me, Sheriff Dan Gaida from here, sister told me, her name's Tyann, she said, it's just, she said, those counties were really suffering because with COVID, they had to let people out of the jail, and so they weren't making money.
Yep, there you go.
Right.
And he said, and so now Enbridge has come in and is such a big help to the counties.
Oh.
I was like, how dysfunctional is that economic
Right.
plan?
Right. Right.
And so to me, this is like this huge human rights problem,
Right.
huge environmental problem, the fossil fuels problem, but it's also these structural problems of like, how did it get so messed up that you're hoping a Canadian multinational buys you more police gear?
It's an ethical problem.
It's a huge
Yes.
problem. And this is why, Walsh needs to take a look. He's just looking at the jobs. I was like, yeah, so you had 4,200 workers and half of them, 2/3 of them were from out of state. That was a good gig, wasn't it, Tim?
Yeah. Right.
And then now, so what we want is real jobs, So, so the month ahead is going to be brutal. We have our appeals court case next week. You're going down to Winona cities, hoping you don't get arrested in a riot. You never know. Right, whatever happens, happens, but they get more aggressive. What we saw is
Right.
Grand Rapids, that's where you were charged out of. Right. You didn't get charged in Grand Rapids because you got out of there, right? I didn't go to the Grand Rapids thing, but they got 70 people, right?
Yep. We were basically corralled into the road, immediately told we were all under arrest, no dispersal order. People who were not intending to risk arrest were just intending to walk along the shoulder of the support of remembrance of the 30th anniversary of the largest oil 1.7 million barrel Enbridge river right outside Grand Rapids.
then valve turners, just tell them you're a valve turner.
Right, there you go.
It's a violation of that one.
Ha ha.
Of the 169 action.
Oh, sorry, which violation it was. Sorry.
Yeah.
We got a chance to meet you earlier, but could you introduce yourself to the other guests?
Oh, yes. Come on.
I'm Michelle. I'm the one that they're taking to the jail. I found out last night that there was a warrant out.
Oh.
So I thought that I would come down and turn myself in. Well, I guess I should finish the introduction. I'm Michelle.
You're right.
Nar Obed. I live in Duluth. My husband and I were part of the Catholic Worker Movement, which is
Yay.
the Catholic Church.
Yay. Mm.
Here regularly to this camp to be part of the support for the water protection work. Honestly, consider ourselves part of the water protectors. And we have a camp here that
Right.
So my purpose for turning myself in today is because they said in the warrant that I could show up with $500 and pay and not be held, just be held for the process. But I don't really feel like I want to hand $500 over to a system that has determined that I violated my condition of release, which is that I participated in illegal activity, and I haven't even had an arraignment yet for that.
Right.
Unless something has happened in the past couple of days that, assume that we're innocent until proven guilty. But maybe something happened. I don't know. Maybe everybody paid extra money or something.
Well-
Change that constitutional piece. But that's what I want. I want to talk to a judge, and I don't want to just stand over me and walk out. There's some integrity here. But I don't think that. I think they're used to people just like either running from it or if they're privileged to pay for it and get out of it. But that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is just illegal activity and all the connections that with the state and the police and the security forces needs to be exposed and needs to be on record. They may end up getting that $500 anyhow, but it's not going to go without. I'm not going to be quiet about it.
Right. Here, here.
Right.
Woo!
I'm really grateful that the churches are here, but these kind of, the civil and human rights violations for this project are wrong.
Right.
The project is wrong. It's a crime against humanity. It's a crime against the Creator.
Right.
There's nothing that is justifiable in any kind of Christian doctrine about this project.
Right.
It's unjustifiable, and it's and these guys are climate criminals.
Right. Right.
So we're not afraid to stand up because someone's got to stand up. But the challenges that are posed now are great. I mean, unfortunately, the weather's breaking, so we expect to have quite a few people on the river because the rivers still belong to us. This is the
Tell it.
taking of public lands, and that's a public right of way that they took. That's public lands or Anishinaabe. They're public lands. They're not private lands that Enbridge is taking for a private Canadian corporation, right?
Right.
But the rivers, they can't stop us from the rivers. And so you have 22 river crossings, and we expect to launch a full naval force of
You're taking swimmers?
paddleboards. I was always laughing because I always kind of joke. I was the honor sports organization.
Ha ha.
40 bunch. As you can see, here we are.
Yes.
Well, it's safe though.
Right. Yep.
Say, show your team spirit, Minnesota. Let's go to our rivers.
Come on, go.
Let's get the river keepers involved, these other organizations.
Sure.
Because there's 22 big river crossings, and none of them should happen, and they can't do them for another month. They're off duty for a little bit because of the road conditions. Although they're still doing making a mess in smaller locations.
Do you have a map of those river crossings?
Sure do.
Okay.
To see how many of our churches might be signed up.
Sure.
Just pray by the river.
Yes.
We're people to pray by the river, because that's a really good thing to do anyway.
Right.
And then if you want to take to the river,
Taking swimmers?
keep an eye on these guys, and I really could see that it's not going to there's a bunch of riot police on the shore and a bunch of people in paddles and canoes in the middle. I've seen these actions before.
Right.
It's not going to look good for Walsall. I have to say that's the only thing I could see stopping it is more people. And we got more people than they do. We got way more people.
Right.
If the Hubbard County Judge Chapman was on our side. Right, you know. And then most of our actions, I mean, if you ever come up towards Park Rapids, we have salsa night. That's very good, huh? This is right. Yeah, so the thing is that Enbridge somehow got the Carnegie Library in downtown Park Rapids as their office, right? And I was trying to figure that out. Like, that's one of those things I was looking at in my little OCD self. I was like, aren't those a charitable contribution, not for a Canadian? You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be educational. I was like, how'd you do that, Park Rapids? Get a Canadian corporation to lease the Carnegie Library. But we think that it's public land around the building because it's a National Historic Site. But anyway, we started dancing in their yard last week.
Yay.
On the corner. We have like 40 people up. We got some big salsa music. It's right across from a Mexican restaurant. So we have this one sign
Sure.
that says, "Deport the Canadians, keep the Mexicans."
Woo.
When they came out and danced, I didn't see it, but the Mexican staff came out and danced salsa with us.
Sure. Sure.
It's great. It's super fun, but that's a lot of what we are. You know, we're just trying to be present in these northern towns. You guys, you know, I mean, particularly, you know that most of these people are Lutheran up north. They're fearful, they're afraid. You know, and we're seeing more and more people just come out and dance with us on the corner.
Sure.
And that's been a lot of our strategy to say, look,
Yes.
you know, I'm thinking of challenging Enbridge to a dance-off.
There you go. Sure.
Just, you know, just to be real, you know, and it's super funny because I've said it, you know, I was out here, she was out there that day, like, we're out here and there's 30 water protectors on one side and 30 cops on the other, protecting Enbridge, and it's like 10 below. I was like, what are we doing? Right. You know, what are you protecting? You got your people over here and you got a corporation over there, and there was like, remember that? There's like all lined up looking at us, hating us across there. So at a certain point I yelled over, I said, hey, let's play Red Rover.
Sure. Yes. Oh, good. Oh, good.
Send over Cheryl. That's what I said.
Yeah, right.
It's like this ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What's happening to the civil rights of northern Minnesota? When it's all jacked out by Enbridge.
Because the government is for sale.
I like the light.
Like as if the government and the world. Right.
This cop gave me a hat. He's like, you look cold, ma'am. I said, yes, I am.
Yes.
Cool hat.
You bought it or
He
did you
said,
make it?
you know, you have more supporters than you know.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
I know. I know we're right, and I know that a lot of these cops are like DM. I
Right.
don't just like them. There's some bad cops out there.
Sure.
The DNR has been pretty aggressive, and like that incident she's talking about, the DNR is the worst. That's something else, you know, because I thought they just like were like the fishing license guys. They're like Nazis.
The DNR. What is the D?
Natural resources.
Oh.
Super aggressive. Like the worst. You know, I mean, I got a picture of Jeff from DNR shoving everybody. I was like, that looks like a de-escalation job.
Oof.
I was like, why are you doing that, Mr. Why are you shoving all those white people to arrest them? Why are you doing that? You know, so I guess what am I saying? So what we need help is more numbers.
Right.
You know, spring's coming. Join us at the river. Bring your best canoe.
Yes.
Bring your warm, you know, your towels. And we'll have boat launches on every river.
Yes.
Come join us. We river keepers. Come join us. You keep writing the governor, showing up at all these events. We got Tuesdays in Park Rapids, Wednesdays in Bemidji, Thursdays in Bacchus, and Fridays in Grand. You know, we want people to come up and water protector tourism.
Right.
See what it is, you know.
Yes.
And then have your churches, you know, get involved because we know, everybody everybody knows that climate change is what we're dealing with here.
Right. Right.
Can you talk about the appeal down in the city?
Yeah, I mean, the appeal is based on two things. The first is the certificate of need, which is based on that Enbridge used their demand projections based on what they wanted. That's not, you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying is
Right.
So if you export enough oil to Europe, I mean, it's and none of it goes to Minnesota. So, you know, in the advent of the pandemic, we reduced our oil consumption by 10%, right? And we changed a lot of, you know, and what you and I know, we all know, is that we could reduce it far more.
Mm.
And the pandemic.
Sure.
I mean, I look at pandemic as a portal. I really like what Erin
Yes.
Roy said.
Yes,
She
yes.
talked about, you know, that in the history of the world, the pandemics have forced societies to change. This one is no different.
Mm.
You know, because we was all like cruising around, and all of a sudden, bam, we're home, right?
Right.
And some people, you know, I mean, I had a great time. I used to fly. I was having the best time about flying. It's so fun.
Right. You get to stay home with your kids.
Yeah, and
With
I
your
get to see
kids.
my grandkids,
Yes.
and I, you know,
Yes.
touring and,
Yes.
But you know, my point is that it changed where we thought we were going, and then we realized all these other things. We realized that our food system is fragile. We realized that our energy system. You know, we realized that we import everything from China.
Right.
You know, that globalization doesn't serve you well in a pandemic.
No.
Right? We realized all of these things, and so we, you know, a lot of things were going on, but like I just looked at everybody started growing last year, growing like plants like quintupled sales from, you know what I'm saying, is like people started changing, and so what we want to do is, you know, what Erin Roy says is that it's a portal between two worlds, and you could choose how to walk through that. You want to bring your prejudice, your avarice, your hatred, your data banks, your dirty rivers, your bad policies, or you want to walk through clean. We want to walk through clean. You know, it's this opportunity for a just transition we have never had in our lifetimes.
Right.
We got a new administration that we all fought to get in.
Right.
And we work hard on that. You know, I mean, if you look up here, it's like 80% is Trump and the 20% that carry some of these places is us, right? Indians are all Democrats, right? You know, and it's across the board. I mean, that Indian vote was very significant. Wisconsin, Arizona.
Right.
So I just feel like keep pushing. Midterms are coming up, keep pushing. Come in with the just transition. So our organization is building solar thermal panels.
Yay.
We've been doing that for years. We built solar thermal panels. This is an old one before us. Let it reduce 20% of your heating bill. That's great. We're moving into looking at manufacturing all the parts of that panel in Minnesota. 40 parts for the I was like, like, what if we tried to build a local economy in Minnesota, right?
Right.
You know, for manufacturing. So that's the kind of things we're looking at, and you know, there's a lot of. I mean, I haven't checked. I think Enbridge's pipes are from Taiwan. I'm not sure, but I was like, made in Minnesota.
Oh, we should have looked. Yeah.
You know, but I think that, you know, this whole opportunity for this just transition is what we really need. We're going to stop this pipeline, and at the same time, we'll have a much better plan, because at the end of this, we'll have 23 jobs.
Yes.
You know, we're going to have more jobs on whiter in our manufacturing than Enbridge is going to have.
Right.
You know, we already got 8 people. You know, by next year, we're building a job training program, and, you know, a whole bunch of small-scale manufacturing. It's like, we didn't spend $9 billion.
Would you speak to about hemp and plastics?
The hemp and plastic.
The versus hemp versus. Right.
And that's my interest. I mean, I'd really rather be doing this, you know. I'm interested in fiber hemp. I call it the new green revolution. And I call it that because Minnesota was the foundation of the green revolution.
Oh, right.
And
That's right.
that wasn't the greatest
No.
idea in retrospect.
No.
It is the new green revolution.
Right.
Which is hemp. Minnesota used to have 11 hemp mills. We made canvas. We made rope. Last place hemp rope was made in this country was at Stillwater Prison. Like, my ancestors used to do that. You know?
Wow.
I have relatives that were in prison. You know? And so I've been growing for 5 years under state permit. I do a little bit, but that's not mine.
Well, I mean, I just find that more people that have always been told that I should get into that or everything is underground.
I think hemp is, I mean, Trudell used to always say, like, hemp is the way. You know, and you knew John too. And I was you know, I always just say, well, man, John smokes a lot of pot. That's what he thinks, you know. But he was right. He was right. You know, and so now, like, I've been working on developing an intertribal hemp collaborative. We just had our 4th hemp conference.
Right.
You know, up
Right.
there it was remote. It was super cool. And, you know, last year we produced about 20 acres of hemp, fiber hemp. We grew out 7 varieties. Patagonia bought us the seeds. And what we're trying to figure out is how to grow, what to grow. We have a really good crop. We have a couple of, and we're growing with the University of Minnesota some barrel crops out this year. But where we're at is the value-added production. We have a decorticator that's a field decorticator, but we just sent our stuff off to North Carolina. And I'm hoping, what I want to do is build a textile mill on the White Earth Reservation. That's my hope.
Wow.
But there should be, if you actually want to be in the hemp revolution and replace everything you make out of fossil fuels, like all those blue tarps that are on boats. Like oh gosh. You see, you know what I'm saying? Is if we could
Right.
just do that, that'd be a great service for Minnesota.
Sure.
Right? Everybody does.
No, we don't.
So,
You know what I mean?
But-
though? Everybody has a
but-
boat covered with blue plastic in
But-
Minnesota now, and that should be illegal.
so is it true that everything that's made of plastic could be made of hemp?
Pretty much.
That plastic is from fossil fuels, and that hemp, those things could all be made out of a green material instead of
Right.
digging it out of the ground.
This is, you know, so I'm interested in the materials economy.
Right.
Focus on hemp. That's why I don't do
Right.
CBDs.
Right, right.
Because I'm interested in textiles.
Right,
Because
textiles.
Like these are mostly cotton, but you and I know that everybody's wearing fossil fuels now. We're
Right.
all into polyester and nylon. That's
Right.
all fossil fuels.
Right. Oh, right.
And then the you know then the idea of hempcrete. So the fiber, the plant has two parts. Fiber is the long. I actually have a bunch of. I'm making some hemp lead ropes. But there's the fiber part. You know, so my hemp's this tall, and then the inside is the hurd.
Ah.
That's what you make hempcrete out of.
Uh-huh.
And if hempcrete could replace, I mean, concrete, if it was a country, is the third largest source of CO2 emissions in the world. So what if you could make hempcrete houses?
Wow.
What if you could, so that's what
Right.
we're interested in, and Sisseton is interested in hemp bioplastics, so is Turtle Mountain, and they have a hempcrete house model that we're looking at. So we're working on building an intertribal hemp collaborative for this region.
Wow.
Because there's so much potential, and for particularly, you know, if you go towards the west more of those tribes have a lot of land, and it's got good potential for, you know, everything that you could make. So, it's, you know, so that's what I feel like as like, you know, because you look up there and like, I spend a lot of time looking at how you rebuild a medium-scale industry sector here. I'm just saying, like, say you wanted to mill fabric. We don't do that in this country anymore. We offshored that in the 90s. So you have Faribault Mill. Bemidji Wool Mills doesn't do it anymore. You know what I'm saying? This is like, and Thief River Falls used to have a mill too. Closed down. I was like, well, why don't we open those up again?
Right.
So that's what I'm interested in, is rebuilding it. You know, and there was already people working on it.
Right.
There's a bunch of us working on it for years. You know, but now with the just transition and the new Green Deal, and
Right.
now is the time to
And-
rebuild a respectable and reasonable and beautiful economy. So that's what we're going for.
They have Thrive too now, which is, I think it's, isn't it the new Green Deal with a little more meat on it? In other words, of practical how to get it done.
In whatever realm.
Right.
You know, and a lot
Any
of the
which way.
organizing work we're doing is also in Canada. Because the problems start in Canada. Because they don't have a plan B for their economy except for the tar sands. So they're like a heroin dealer who's pushing.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and someone needs to call them out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Right. Right, right, right. Saw that.
I myself, yeah. Just work on making the fabric, but yeah.
We want the fabric.
Yeah,
Let's
I
have
just,
some
like,
fabrics.
I've been, like, I'm so interested, and sadly, I've just been in an inordinate amount of time trying to help stop them from making a new mess. When I
Right.
should just be building the next economy.
Right, right, right.
But, you know, creator gives you what you got, you know? So,
Right.
But I was, you know, I had my hemp meetings yesterday, and, you know, we're moving along. We're planning. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, it's really, you know, for me, we're really grateful you came. Help
Oh.
us to focus on how people life is. plan and approve this pipeline and act like.
No.
The other thing is that Enbridge has said, Line 3 has not had as many leaks in the past few years. What they need to do is just reduce their oil. They can move it back through their other lines. Al Monaco told he's the chairman or the president of Enbridge. He told his board of directors that he could move the oil that they wanted to into 3 or 4 other lines. Reapportion allocations, you know what I'm saying? He could reverse the southern, what's it called? The Southern Express? I don't know what's that. I forget what it's called, but one of the pipelines that brings diluent up there. But you know what the thing is that they just need to cut theirs.
Right, and fix their ones that are leaking.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I raise a lot of kids, man, and that's the deal. Is you don't get to make a new mess until you clean it.
Right, exactly.
That's the deal. That's what I feel like is that you need some sensible parenting in this.
Yes, exactly.
I'm looking at these guys, and the Public Utilities Commission said that they made the decision because they felt like they had a gun to their head. Holy crap.
That's no.
Explode. And I said, I listened to that and I was like, who's the adult?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have a kid having a tantrum in their room that says, I'm going to throw the TV out the window unless you give me a new bedroom,
Right.
what do you say? Knock it off.
Yeah, right.
I'm taking the TV.
Yeah, you don't get your time out.
Give me that TV.
Yeah, you get a time out. You get a time out to think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Come to your senses.
what they're doing here is the same thing they're doing in Wisconsin.
Right.
See, the governor closed them down in Michigan under the Straits of Mackinac, and they said, we're going to keep it up.
Oh,
And then
no.
remember the whole they tried to kidnap? Remember that?
No.
So I'm like, right.
Really?
And they're doing the same thing in Wisconsin, bullying. And so it's
The
not
bullying.
just a Minnesota problem.
Right.
The question to me, they have the equivalent, not to be super nerdy on this, and one day I'll forget all this stuff. 2 nuclear power plants.
Oh.
It takes to do the Enbridge line. The equivalent of 2 nuclear power plants. So the largest energy consumer in the state of Minnesota is Enbridge. Moving sludge takes power. And so one of the questions,
The largest what?
they're the single largest energy consumers in the state of Minnesota. Enbridge.
Right.
So the question at some point, the Department of Commerce just hired Honor the Earth to help them on this rural electrification policy because I have been yelling at them. I went to these rural electrification meetings. I was like, tribes can't get renewable energy online, but you are building substations for Enbridge. They're building substations. They build all this energy infrastructure for Enbridge.
It's ridiculous.
That nobody wants.
Right.
And a tribe tries to put renewable energy online, and they make it hard for us.
Oh, my God.
It's an infrastructure equity issue. But
Yes.
part of my point, without getting too technical, is just like the point is why should we be powering sludge? Why should Minnesota's energy policy deal with how much more demand the mining companies are going to have
To make
and the pipeline companies?
for their, so just because they want to make their
Why don't
money.
we make it like I said, I say all the time, man. I say to you, Texas should have showed us that we got a problem.
Right.
Right.
You're not set up for resilience and climate change.
Right.
My tribe is in tough shape. I got people in housing projects with only propane, and electric heat. So the power goes out, how's that electric heat going to work? But we're doing a lot, we're working on the housing projects too in White Earth. And our goal is to do a bunch of work in Duluth and help build this just transition. So we're not about no. We're about no to this, but we have a much better plan.
Right.
And
That's
what I think is really important for the churches to help us is to say, we could see, in our prophecies we talk about this choice between, it's called the seventh fire, the prophecy of the seventh fire. And we're told we have a choice between 2 paths. One is well-worn, and one is scorched. And one is scorched, and then the other is green.
right. Green. The choice is clear.
Prophecies, I don't know, Marlene, you hung around with a lot of old cats too. I remember Thomas Banyaka would talk about that the next world will begin, that they'll start a new world. And there is some different things that Toby's talked about. You remember this gourd full of ashes? Remember that prophecy? That was the atomic bomb. The house of Micah. They said that was the UN. And the third thing he said was a web in the sky. And when they first said it in the 70s, we thought that was the Star Wars. Remember that Star Wars military stuff?
Yes, yes.
It was the damn internet.
It was the what?
Internet.
Oh,
Because if you think about
right.
it, you know, change is caused by many things: social movements, pandemics, disruptive technology.
No kidding.
Disruptive technology. So what's disruptive technology look like? Looks like that Exxon isn't even at the top of the S&P anymore. Who's at the top? Elon Musk
Right,
and Jeff Bezos.
right.
Who's the richest guys in the world? The guy with the electric cars and the guy with the sales on the internet, right?
Right,
These fossil fuel companies are falling off.
right.
Because the disruptive technologies, you know, because I was thinking about it, because, you know, an example of a disruptive technology is a horse. Because what the horse did to native people, when the horses arrived for the second time, or the return of the horses, right? Transformed our world, right? That's what I mean, it's not a technology, it's an animal, but
Right,
it's an example
but it's a
of what
change.
disruptive technology does to a society.
Right.
Electric cars, I mean, people say, you know, Jane Fonda didn't walk. I was like, yeah, Jane Fonda had a Tesla, that'd be great. I mean, a combustion engine is 16% efficient.
Right.
An electric engine is 65% efficient. What kind of dummies ride around with 16% efficient cars?
Right. We do.
How
Yeah.
long you want that to go?
Yeah.
We're all ready for our electric chargers.
Mm.
Our electric-
Well, even then it was.
Exciting about this.
Oh, move on up. Yeah, I want to set up more electric charging stations, you know?
Well, they had a movie, Who Killed the Electric Car, because it was back to that. They're still trying to take their last, you know, cash grab out of the, you know, because they've already made the investment in the, you know, they're behind the times. So the change has to come. Another world is possible.
No, that's exactly right. Another world is possible, and you can hear breathing, you know? And that's what I keep saying to the Minnesota representatives. We've got a lot of them coming here. I keep saying these guys that they got the playbook from the last century.
Mm.
I mean, who thinks that we should have another mine out in northern Minnesota? Nobody. Except for some mining guys from Canada.
Yes,
Right.
But that's because of our lack of imagination. Mining has always been in northern Minnesota, and that's all people can imagine for
Right.
employment, right? I mean, not you, but
No.
local. What did they say to you? Huh?
They'll be out of a job.
Right.
People are afraid. Out. Right.
I mean, and Shania talks about it because she's, you know, she's been in Aiken County most of her life, and she says, you know, I mean, people up here are just used to exploiting. You know, they have these industry jobs, and you know, somebody needs to. I mean, you know, I'm a rural development economist. That's my training, and I was like, yeah, you don't need that economy. You can get sugar from a tree. And I was like, Aiken County, you guys should be the mushroom capital of the world, you know? I mean, you know, we're going to put a bunch of mushrooms out here, but my point is that, you know, you could have an economy that's on life and not on,
Right.
but it needs the imagination. It needs to, and there's people up here. I mean, Lynn Meisner, she bought the pipeline off of her land down south of here, and she's an organic farmer. All kind of people. I mean, they need capitalization, they need support, and, you know, and from what I could see, like, I'm okay with, you know, providing some leadership up in our neck of the woods, because I don't see those guys doing much. So I'm like, we'll just do it, and then you guys can take some notes.
Right. Right. There you go.
Several topics back, when we were talking about Fond du Lac. The bishop from Northeast Minnesota also wanted to be here, but her father is in hospice. And then the assistant, who, this is her portfolio, his dad died on Tuesday. So they were both having fathers that were gonna, you know, take to the world, so to speak. And, but I know that, that assistant, I can't remember her name, what was it?
Colleen
Colleen?
or
Amy.
Brenda? Oh, bishop or bishop assistant
The assistant.
in northeastern Minnesota?
She's a descendant of the Fond du Lac family.
Oh yeah, Colleen.
So I think that's also a good connection that we're missing
Yeah.
right now, but
Yeah.
it sounds like there's some importance for
Yeah.
that synod to be,
Yeah.
you know, to have the capacity to have more information to figure out how they can help the the best. But I'm just wondering if some of you have some questions right now that you might want to explore with Winona, and then Winona give them a charge at the end.
And we should take you for a little walk too. I mean,
Yes,
you know, who wants to take a walk, you can take a ride down there. We'll take you down there.
to the river.
The years there are
Bishop,
amazing.
do you have anything that
Well, after our conversation yesterday, I'm curious how hopeful you are for Biden to take.
That agency I was not hopeful for. That was pathetic.
Right. What agency? Can you fill us in?
CEQ.
CEQ.
Health and Environmental Quality. But then I was talking to my partner, and he said, because he said that was a creation of the Reagan administration, and the intention was to mess with the EPA. Put limits on the EPA regs. I mean, some of these have like historically dysfunctional behavior. I was like, we're pushing. My tribe is pushing the Army Corps because there's some people getting into the Army Corps who are going to be good.
Oh, good.
You know, and so there's that hope in the Army Corps, and that's going to be, I think, a big push. And then, the EPA. I mean, there's some hope in there, and then, the federal lawsuits. You know, for the overturn, because the permits should not have been approved on the faulty EIS under the Trump administration. But all that takes time, you know. And in the meantime, you're out here battling it out day in and day out with those guys. I mean, right now we got a little break because of the weather, because of the roads, which I didn't even believe.
So muddy.
Right. This is why, I thought they were kidding. I had this, I went into this, moment of, oh, I could breathe for, 4 days. Yeah.
So when do you want people to come?
I want them to keep coming up and meeting.
Well, just keep coming.
So this is my suggestion. On the Honor the Earth and Stop Line 3, there's a map called the Welcome Water Protectors Map, and it shows you every site, every substation. Be the public. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. You're not being illegal. It's a giveaway of public lands. Be the public. So go out there on the public roads and look at them.
Right.
Take pictures of them because they're taking pictures of you.
Right.
Be present.
Right.
Hold up a sign.
Right.
The more you could do that, the more it helps people up here who are so fearful. Enbridge is occupying the north.
Right.
Bacchus looks like an occupation. This looks like an occupation. It's really, really brutal. And people need to have a little bit of courage. And so even stand up there with a little sign, come out, First Amendment, not telling you to get arrested, but be present, more and more, and then come to the rivers. Right. Come to the rivers particularly. 22 separate crossings. We encourage you to go there. We also encourage you to go to the Enbridge offices.
Sure.
We dance every Tuesday at the Enbridge office at downtown Park Rapids. The crowd was 40. Last week, we're working on our Macarena moves.
Oh, we're sorry to miss that. We just got up that day. That's why.
Right.
It was too much
it's too
driving.
soon, but, my point is be
Yeah,
more
just
more
be.
present.
Yes.
And I feel like, I'm here because I love what the Creator gave us so much. I don't like that they're messing it up. And I say bring your best heart.
Right.
Bring your best heart. I know we're angry about different things, but this is, because they got all kind of ugly. We don't need any ugly.
No.
And just be us, and that's the best medicine and the best strategy. And then come in more numbers. So keep coming in more numbers. Support us up here, but if you got a canoe, come. If you want to send some canoes up,
Sure.
we'll be out and about. We were talking about it last night of trying to get someone to donate a whole bunch of life preservers that we could have printed with water protector.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? Is this some kind of cool uniform, kind of like the DNR has, but ours would be like the water protector.
Right.
Life preserver.
Are swimmers wanted? Swimmers?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just wondering.
I don't know what to say. I'm just suggesting.
Right,
legal
anything.
Activities. There are waters.
Just yes, right.
How
Right.
did they get to own them?
Right.
So I'm wondering if Sherry and Dick have some questions.
If you have pontoons too, come visit us.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, somebody mentioned Standing Rock earlier, and I was there years ago also, and I know that didn't happen immediately, but at one point at least, they got a lot of people, and a lot of attention. And what's the difference?
I think a couple of things. There's no difference. This is a worse pipeline. If it's worse, and we've been on these calls with CEQ and other agencies would be like, well, so why should we stop yours? And I was like, you know, we're not really going to get into that game, you know, of like ours is worse than theirs, ours has more oil, more CO2, more water, you know, it's like that. You know, but I think that a lot of people, Line 3 hasn't received so much attention. The KXL has had more, you know, more clarity on it. People thought that this was really a replacement line. Yeah, for a little bit, and the rest is all brand new. In Standing Rock, you know, I mean, I watched that develop, you know, and Standing Rock, you know, in part, we were moving ahead with that pipeline, but we had this bad project here called the Sandpiper. I don't know if you remember that, but
Right.
that was the precursor to Line 3, and we fought that off. It required an environmental impact statement at the courts, and when we required that, when that was required by the courts, that's when Enbridge bailed.
Mm.
And then they bought 28% of the Dakota Access Pipeline. And then they showed up like December 13th. I think that's when they showed up after like all of that violence. Then they showed up in Bemidji and said they wanted this new pipeline. And so I remember being there at that meeting, and I said, it's like they had no, you know, they'd had these hearings on the Sandpiper, and they were heavily opposed by people from the community. All kind of lakeshore, you know what I'm saying? It's like all kind of people, 68,000 people testified in these hearings. So there was massive participation, but you know, we all tried to make the system work. And in South Dakota, you know, they didn't have the infrastructure of opposition for so long. You know, we have in-trench, but people, it's like below the surface a little bit. The other thing is that the pandemic, everybody's super fearful. But I'm like, spring's here. And you know, the thing is that people say, is it going to look like Standing Rock? And I was like, well, we ain't down to one river crossing, are we?
Right.
They got 300 miles of pipe they didn't even put in yet. I mean, they said 50%. I think that they might have put in like 20% of their pipe. You know, they're claiming far more than they got, maybe 30%, but they didn't get any of the rivers. And so, you know, why would I wait till they get to one spot?
Right.
Why would I wait? Why would
No.
I sit there and
Right.
wait for them to get there?
No, no, no.
You know, I think it's important to be the public, to be the home team. You know, we are the home team. We're a Canadian corporation. And to show up at the rivers. You know, and so I don't know what it's going to be like. The police, you know, I know that they've taken a note from Standing Rock, and they're trying to not, you know, turn into church fire, but, you know, I don't think DNR can help themselves from what I could see. I didn't see, and we don't know what Enbridge is giving them. That's a whole other thing, is that Enbridge has been providing these sheriffs with the equipment.
I was gonna say, we've seen lots of new shiny toys.
Well, they got, you know, I don't know, $20,000 worth of riot gear for the, you know, Wadena County Police in Monaga, which has 200 people in the town.
Oh my
I
God.
was like, why does Monaga need riot gear? At what point does Monaga need riot gear? You know, so they're setting up this. Oh wait, let's give those guys a whole bunch of new tools.
Right. Oh,
You know,
jeez.
so they can round up some 20-year-old brown people. I was like, that's not going to happen. I'm going to let you go try to pound up some grannies first. You know, that's my strategy. So
Oops.
there's a bunch of older white women out there. I'm
I'm-
right there, you know. So you try that. You should be ashamed.
We'll be right over.
Yeah, that's my strategy. It's just like, let's just shame them. You know, shame on you. Shame on you. You know? So they're going to keep escalating it, and we're going to keep growing. You know, I mean, the project manager messaged me early on, you know, Paul Ebert. Paul. You know, he's a decent guy. He put up wind turbines. He's a decent guy, but you know, he still works for them. And he said, you know, he messaged me one day on my phone and surprised the hell out of me. I laughed. There's a message on there. It's Paul. I was like, Paul? So my board chair's name, Paul. I was like, Paul? Paul from Enbridge? I was like, oh. He asked to visit with me. He said, think we can de-escalate this? I said, no, just no pipeline. He said, you know, it's going to be like Standing Rock. I said, it's not my, you know, you're the ones making the problem.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You know, so I feel like, you know, we're not trying to do anything, but we're going to be water protectors. And, you know, I don't know, I don't really want it to look like Morton County, but I'm not in charge. I didn't provide the police with all that equipment, did I?
Right.
I didn't give them all those directions. I didn't let loose the flying monkeys. I actually
Right.
asked the Department of what's it, Public Safety in the office. I said, who's in charge of that? You know, we see them unloading stuff, and there's nobody keeping track of what they receive. So these are public police being provided with equipment by a Canadian multinational.
How much money is that?
I mean, I know it was like 180,000 that Beltrami County got in one reimbursement. I mean, I think it should be public records. I think the churches should see. I think you should push to see, you know, what they're buying. I mean, who's in charge of that? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, that you let, you know, I mean,
Right.
you just, you know, might as well just let, you know, Martin Marietta and Lockheed unload a bunch of equipment for your police offices.
Be careful.
You know, well, I'm a civilian.
Right.
And then the other thing is that Minnesota has the George Floyd trial going on right now. I was like,
Right.
you know, what are you doing, Minnesota?
Right.
You're gonna just like, you know, gonna have a police crisis in northern Minnesota now? That's what they're doing. They're setting that up. And the other thing is that, like, I am not sure that all these guys up here didn't come out of bad cop situations also.
Oops.
I
Here.
feel like, I mean, without due respect, I feel like, you know, remember the pedophile priest that they shipped around to the reservation? Yeah, right. I'm like, are they shipping around cops? Yeah.
Right.
Rural counties that couldn't make it in Minneapolis and have a bad thing on their record? Or did they ship them to DNR? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what? Yeah, we think that they shipped them to DNR if they lost their ability to operate as a police officer. They shipped them to DNR.
Ha.
I mean, so
Aha.
we don't want that.
No.
You know, Minnesota going to be known for the last tar sands pipeline and the George Floyd, and then the, you know, I mean, I don't know what's going to look like here in May, but May is when the big scene is going to start, because they really want to get this pipe done, and they got 22 river crossings and 5 drills. Oh boy. There's 5 drills. They can go 5 in a row. I don't know if there's only 5 drills in North America. The kind that they need, these specialized recipe. You know, I mean, to their credit, they had to go really deep. I mean, because we forced them. But you know, no pipe is better than any pipe, right?
Right.
The churches asking more questions is the best thing. You know, y'all, we really appreciate it, because you know, they see me and they're like, oh, there's that woman again. They're like, yeah.
The other thing that strikes me about what you said earlier, that it's true here and it's also true in the George Floyd situation. You said white people need to organize white people.
Yep.
I'm into that, and most of our forces are white.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's really.
I'm listening and I'm taking that to heart.
Yeah, no, it's really, really important. I mean, you know, you guys hung out with me. I'm like easy to talk to. I think I'm.
Yes.
You know, I don't got the patience for some stuff.
I agree.
You know, but I sit there like in Little Hubbard County, and you know, I'm surprised. You know, but I'm surprised at the amount of support by people that, you know, there's some serious haters, but they hated me a long time ago, and I can't fix their problems. You know, but there's a lot of good people. You know, and they're organizing their people. I mean. I wasn't there when the Rodeo King showed up a couple days ago. Did you see him? He runs the rodeo up north, and he showed up at the line on our side.
Oh, yay. Yay.
He pulled up just like he always
Hooray. Woo. Well, organize and educate, right? Organize and educate, because sometimes we're helping them to believe that another way is possible.
Right. And the more that people come up from the cities to the north, like Park Rapids, I'm going to just say come to Park Rapids. Like this is easy. But your flock is in Park Rapids. You know, I went down to see the Unitarians over there, and where are they? They're north of Fergus Falls. I go down there, and there was 19 Lutheran churches between me and the Unitarians.
Woo.
I was like, let's get the Lutherans organized.
Well, we'll work on it. The Lutherans.
The more discussion about this is climate change, and you know, the more discussion to because Enbridge is spending so much money and we don't got it. You know, they're trying to say the Indians like them and the Creator likes them, and I was like, no, they don't.
It sounds like their strategy changed from Standing Rock. They seem trying to sow this vision and be much more,
A lot of money.
buying.
Yeah.
another really critical issue. I mean, just hearing you talk about trying to connect renewable energy to the lines and having it, just having such difficulty. I mean, at the heart of charting a new path forward is access to our shared resources around energy. And that's also part of the problem with the whole pipeline system is that it's not actually owned by and serving the community. And if we can have conversations at the ground level about our energy and resilience and different ways to participate in a new energy economy, that's a part of the crisis and the big scale around fossil fuels too. And it's just so interconnected.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. You know, is that it's, you know, I mean, interfaith power and light, obviously, you know, there's been a lot of move on, you know, trying to move this just transition. And I feel like that, just keep pushing. You know, now's the time. And this is a political crisis that, you know, requires that kind of an answer. You know, and I feel like that the Biden administration is kind of like, well, we gave you the KXL. And we're like, that's not enough.
No, not enough.
It's not enough. That doesn't count. You know, so one really, really, really bad idea you didn't do, well, this other one you're not going to do either. Okay, but you got to create that, and the only way it's going to be is just keep pushing. Because, you know, I spend most of my life fighting stupid ideas. Really amazing. I spend so much of my life fighting stupid ideas.
Oh dear.
I know, isn't that like I was like? So we watch that $1 billion cost overrun was not in their favor, is it? They got a bunch of bank loans coming up on the 30th of March too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, keep some attention on that. The risk is still high, you know. But they're saying we got this. I was like, no, not yet. Not for a long time, you know. I don't, you know. So, you know, they never. I mean, that's my experience. Is it starts getting more expensive, but you got to give balls away out.
Yeah, how do we do
the just transition. You got to say, look, you know, this is not a good plan, and you know, we gave the PUC a couple new ways out. I mean, we've given them plenty of opportunity. We provided them all the evidence and filed a complaint that Enbridge, you know, was moving oil in their lines without a PUC permit. Because when you change stuff, you have to, you know, you have to tell them. They're moving stuff all over. You know, and we said, look, you know, they don't need the line, obviously. You know, they violated, but you know, but they picked it up. The PUC did pick it up. The PUC probably got to get turned over though. I'm like so done with them.
In theory, what is the Enbridge's timeline on this project?
End of the year.
But the summer's the big
Huh?
this May. Starting May, I mean, when
Yeah.
the weather.
Basically, you know, we plan to have extraordinary events in the north.
Yes.
I mean, like for instance,
Of
we
course.
invited May Day to come north. The May Day parade. I heard they canceled it, right? I was like, come Palisades.
Come north.
Sure. Sure.
Have more and more fun events.
Yes.
Water protectors.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
the team.
Yes.
We have those in Minnesota, so that's
Absolutely.
What we want to do is like May Day up here, Earth Day, like just come up here. This is the easiest spot for like a May Day parade, but I'm focusing on over there by Park Rapids, like that's super deep north up there. You know, Park Rapids and by Bemidji, like that's a whole. There's a lot of Indians up there too, you know. And so doing more cool events up there, just really turning it out. You know, I feel like we're just doing giant parties one after another right now. In life. I was like, oh gosh.
And
Great
salsa
though. I
dancing.
mean,
Don't forget the salsa dancing.
right.
Yes.
It's so fun.
Yes.
So in addition to more people at parties,
Yes.
you talked about giving logs a way out. What are the strategies?
Just transition. You know, you need to say this is the jobs we want, and I think we need to, you know, come at him. I mean, because I just feel like that, you know, he's saying that he's beholden to labor. I mean, basically, and I think that what we need to say is that these are dead end jobs, buddy.
Yep.
And what you need is to, you know, I mean, you got a C+, C-. It was a D in infrastructure. Now we went to a C-. I was like, and we're actually commissioning a report from some allies of ours called the Labor Sustainability Action. I don't know what it is. Labor Union. And they did a study on the KXL, and they found that the KXL, like you could do this or you could do this for those union jobs. And so we're working on that. And, you know, basically, like, let's just say these are these jobs, and you have this opportunity, and we intend to, you know, push it federally. You know, I'm pushing everybody, and I'm saying, no, we want some money in northern Minnesota to do just transition work.
Right.
Like, Minneapolis is great, but northern Minnesota is what needs it. And so really helping us push for a green New Deal or a just transition up here. You know, that's what, you know, Walls just needs to know that this, and the other thing is that you can't have a climate action plan and approve this pipeline. You know, that's
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like, I'm gonna, you know, buy the last 20 bombers and then declare, you know, it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not gonna do that.
And then sign the nuclear.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it-
saying, like,
Actually, let me.
nuclear missiles here, and then
We'll sign the
okay,
treaty.
that'll be good. I was like, no, you're gonna quit now.
I hope I'm not asking too many questions, but I want to ask about nuclear. When they start saying, "Oh yeah, well we'll just do more nuclear,"
We just need a real energy transition.
right?
You know, we waste 70% or 60% of our power between point of origin and point of consumption. That's what Lawrence Livermore says. So why do we want to do that? It's all set up. They're incentivized to sell more and waste more.
Right.
No one's incentivized to be efficient. I mean, they're burning off or just letting off all that methane gas in those fracking fields.
Right.
Nothing is acceptable about the fossil fuels industry.
No.
You know, if they were
Or the
smart, they
nuclear.
could have captured that,
Right.
right?
Right.
But they're just blowing it off. You know, so why are we incentivizing any of that?
Right.
And nuclear power is not the answer. Nuclear power is the answer. What was the question?
Right.
Right?
If for omnicide, it's the answer for omnicide. You know, if we want to kill everything off, then go ahead with the nuclear.
Consumption.
Right.
And you want
Right.
to get efficient, and you want to get local and give people back the power so that you have local solar and wind power collectives, you know, and that the rural electric cooperatives are actually owned by people and not by corporations. You know, it makes sense. I mean, so there's many, you know, steps. I mean, we have plenty of work to do, and we have some openings now. Crisis creates opportunity, and also so does getting new people elected.
Right. Right.
We just lived through Trump.
Yeah.
You know, some of us weren't sure we were going to make it. Right?
Yes.
That's right.
Whew.
You guys gone.
Raise your hand.
Yeah. Oh, gee.
Close one on the way out. Too.
Oh.
No kidding.
I was like, yeah, we, you know, so
Oh,
let's-
help.
Let's make things better. Nobody wants it to go back to normal. Normal was dysfunctional,
Right.
right? We're ready for better.
Right.
What do you think the possibilities are for the Biden administration acting on this line?
The more pressure, the better. The more the churches help us and everybody helps us. I mean, you know, we've had more meetings. I mean, I've had a number of meetings with them, you know, and I'm not the person really, you know, I mean, I'm the girl who knows this pipeline. I don't really know a lot about the, you know, workings of those agencies or who has what power. It's all kind of like a big mess to me, which sounds like, for someone who ran for vice president, sounds like,
Oh.
I look over there like, that looks like a big mess.
Oh, boy.
You know, and so I think that we need to work on, you know, we had a meeting with Tina Smith's staff. She didn't seem to, you know what I'm saying, is you got to work on those guys too. To say, come on, Amy, get a plan.
Education and their ability not to get the education, it's not them, it's their staff.
Right. I think that churches should work on those senators.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because those guys, we want those women to be on the right team, not on that last century team.
Amy in particular seems like she has a ready access all the time to the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the top, right.
So I would say work on Amy. You know, work on Amy and work on Tina and say, let's
She's
do.
a member of one of my churches.
She is?
Yeah, she is. She doesn't ever go there. Oh yeah, she's on the membership roll.
Ooh, good. Yay.
Oh, Becca Pope. Yeah.
Well, it's time.
It's time to go turn yourself in. Here.
So I want to go over and come out with the back out. What should we do? Take them down?
Go ahead, you can take them down there, but we're gonna give her over to jail.
So it's time for her to go now? We should take them to pray someplace.
We can go down there and pray.
Okay, so we're going to finish off this video
We have to be two
because there are a lot of things to do. We'll stop for
Go
now.
to the river by ourselves. You guys gotta prioritize what you gotta prioritize.
They wanted us to go along.
I think we wanted to
all go to jail.
Okay, we'll all go. We're all going. Okay, we'll end off this video for now. We'll pick it back up in a while.
If you would help us elevate the human rights violations, because
Yes.
of course I had to watch the trial of Chicago 7. Did we watch that on TV?
Yes.
Wasn't that great?
Yes.
I was like, and
Fantastic.
I always listen to, I sing sometimes in conference calls, I sing that Crosby, Stills and Nash song, Chicago. When your brother is found.
Right.
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 I was listening to the song. I didn't, when they had that Bobby Seale.
Yes.
Epic, man.
Yes.
But my point is like, so I was looking at that and I was like, I want a Chicago 7 trial in Aiken County. Because it's the same kind of a system.
Exactly.
Right, but we can't figure out how to get that because of the COVID and because they're dispersing these charges out like this. And so that's part of our strategy, but keeping attention on the human rights violations.
Yes.
You know, and after we filed this constitutional suit, but, you know, we all know we're all old activists. I was like, the court.
Right.
outside the court,
Right.
the canvas,
We'll be there.
face.
Mm.
So the more we can show up, you know, for our people, and then we'll see what we do. I mean, you know, because we got over 200 people charged. It'd be great to have some big trials, make some statements.
I have another
And people can.
I have another question. I'm sorry. I have a gentleman, Mr. Santiago El Buen Amigo in Buffalo. He is remodeling this old location where he supports free trade. My question is, you're talking about a mural. He wants ideas. What would be your idea for his mural?
Oh, good
Besides
question.
human
Yes.
rights, Mother Earth.
That sounds good.
There you go. Perfect.
I mean, there's such great mural art, and I, you know, I mean, I see, you know, I want to do more of it, and whatever they do. I mean, you know, you and I know taking that public space with something beautiful and changes how you look. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
he'll
just
love
go.
it.
Just
Yeah,
go.
just do
And
it.
I'd like more public space everywhere, you know, and I'm trying to figure out Park Rapids. You know, I mean, just like, you know, just do it. Be present. Be present. And this is the spring, is it? You know, May 1st is probably when the party's going to start up north, and I
Right.
have no idea what it's going to look like. You know, I plan to bring my best canoe.
Me too.
Paddle and my like preserver.
Right. Right.
Probably my gas mask.
Some goggles.
Somebody said we're getting it.
We should probably just all have our gas masks on in our canoes in our river. You know?
Sure.
I have no idea what they're going to try to throw on us. But our life preservers.
Yes, sure. With our water is life on it.
Try to do, but that's a lot of rivers to try to cross.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's one thing. The difference between Standing Rock, they were down to one river,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
right? We got 22 still.
Right.
That's
So I was like,
amazing.
I don't know, Enbridge. I mean, Paul's like, can you de-escalate? I was like, I don't know, not my party. That guy from Enbridge, I was like, not my party.
Can you de-escalate?
You know,
Can you do that?
it's a big one, right?
Right.
So
Well-
join the party. Bring your people. Bring
Yes.
your canoes. Bring
Yes.
your paddleboards. Bring your pontoons. We're talking about floats here, doing a flotilla
Oh,
for the
cool.
May Day event with a bunch of really cool things on the float.
Sure.
I have no idea, but it sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like, how great is that?
And then there's publicizing it too, so that the people who can't be, like, there are people watching this live stream right now, and of course they'll watch it again and again, and I'm sure they'll go into the thousands of people. Then people will be getting
Come protect our rivers.
right,
Stop like
right,
stop,
right,
look
right,
at the map, pick a river.
right,
Pick a spot.
right. Come,
By Enbridge facilities all the
right.
time.
There's lots of places people can
That's what
stay.
I tell people to do. Go make
Right.
a public nuisance of yourself.
Right, right, right,
Public lands.
right, right.
I got charged with being a nuisance. I thought that was a low blow.
We're getting it done in 2021.
That's all.
You're a public shero. Public shero. Public shero.
We're
Yeah.
all that, you know?
You are all that.
So are girls ready to go?
Ooh. Okay.
Did you brief them about where we were going? or what
Shania,
we were
please.
doing?
And this is Shania, one of the
Shania. Misha.
So I think some of you got the message, and maybe did Michelle.
Michelle's behind you.
co-hosts.
did, okay. Yeah, so we were gonna caravan over that way, and then, maybe Winona and Tanya and others will have some things to share also at the.
You have a bullhorn.
We should bring a
Bring a bullhorn.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Something to say.
And
Right.
there were also 8 water protectors who were arrested yesterday at an action that I know some of you maybe were there supporting.
Oh, 8 of them were arrested.
8, yeah.
Wow.
So
I only
they're,
saw the 2.
having their court hearings right now, and
Right.
we expect that they may be
Oh, good.
released around the same time.
Right, right, right.
And 8 out.
Oh. Woo!
But I think it would be great to show that support for Michelle and for those 8, and then for the others here who are.
Absolutely.
Then
Yes.
you can see the
Yes.
Dayton County Jail.
Yes. From one side or another. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. There we go.
No, we really appreciate that you all have come. We are so grateful. Thanks for doing that. Let's go see our sister.
Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, we're going to stop this for now. We'll pick it back up in Aiken. Okay, thanks for watching. Megwitch.